name is Katharine, and I am going to be taking you on a trip to the library. It is a gloomy, rainy day here in New England, and one of my favorite things to do on a fall, gloomy, rainy day, I like to go to the library. So we're gonna head down to my local library, pick up some books or a book, and see what I find. I do have some library books on holds, but I don't think any of them are available. So I'm just gonna see what they have at the library that's on my TBR or to be read list. So let's go ahead down there. The library is actually within walking distance of where I live, but because it's downpouring out right now, I don't want to be walking in that, so we're gonna drive down and see what I get myself into. See, I'm at the library right now. I'm trying to be quiet because there's some people in here right now trying to do work, but I didn't really come in here with a plan. I mentioned that before. I have a few books that aren't on my physical TBR or to be read list, and I wanted to check those out to see if they were here at the library right now. I do have a few of those books on hold right now, but they aren't ready right now. I was hoping that maybe some of them were here unexpectedly, but we'll see. A lot of the books that I have are young adult, which is funny to me. I don't know why I'm so drawn to young adult. I don't know that they're a young adult until later, like when I've already added them to my Goodreads. And if you aren't already following me or added me as a friend on Goodreads, go ahead and do that. It's linked in the description below. But I maybe have to head over to the young adult section. I'm currently in the adult section, but I don't know, maybe I should pick up like a Stephen King book. I don't know, maybe that's my sign to pick up a Stephen King book, that a lot of the books that aren't on my TBR are not here. But I'm not much of a horror person. I know he writes other things other than horror, but like, I don't know, Stephen King writes really long books and they're kind of intimidating, and they kind of seem dark to me even if they're not horror, and I try to stay away from that. Just like as a Christian, like I feel like Stephen King books are like slightly like demonic and like have a heavier subject. So I maybe want to stay clear of those, but I don't know. I haven't read any of his books before, so maybe I should just give it a try. I don't know. We'll see what I end up picking up by the end of this video. a really hard time because I always do this to myself. I come into a library or a bookstore without a plan. I always try to look on Goodreads, and I did that already to see like what's not on my physical TBR, and it's just so hard because sometimes the library doesn't always have the books that you want to check out, and you have to put it on a hold so that when it does become available you can come get it from the library. And then also I have been trying to come to the library more often because it saves me money, and that way, especially for like series, like if I can at least check out the first book in a series that I'm interested in, that way I can just read the first book and bring it back to the library if I don't like it, and then I don't have to waste my money buying the entire series and then not end up liking it, which is great. But that goes for like any book. Like if I end up not liking the book, I can just return it to the library and it doesn't hurt my wallet. But it is just discouraging like when you come to the library and they don't have what you want. I'm gonna try to make my way over to the young adult section. Like I mentioned, I've been just perusing the adult section to see if there was anything from the list on my Goodreads account from my TBR or want to read list, or to be read list I should say, and I just haven't seen any of like the adult books here that I'm interested in, so let's go over to the young adult section to see if any of the books that I have that are young adult are over there. So I don't know, I'm getting a little discouraged because the books that I do have on hold aren't ready yet, and none of the books that I have on my TBR or to be read list that I try to keep track on Goodreads is like they're not here. So let's just go to the young adult section. Maybe I have more luck over there. So as I was walking over to the young adult section, I realized that my library actually has a great selection of manga, and I've been getting into manga recently. I've only read a few volumes of The Remarried Empress, but I now know that my library carries manga, so maybe I can check out some manga books from here, because manga, if you're not familiar, is like very lofty when it comes to their series. Not lofty, but lengthy. That's the word. Lengthy when it comes to their series. There's sometimes like 20 or 30 volumes in a series, and that can get expensive. So now that I know my library has manga, maybe I can check out series from here so I can save myself some money. So I'm trying to find like more fall type reads, either thrillers or fantasy novels. So I am trying to look for something like that, but we'll see what I find. Like I said before, I'm in the young adult section, so hopefully I have luck over here finding something. young adult in general, subconsciously I think, is because I like cleaner books, if that makes sense, like nothing with spice in it. And young adult, for the most part, doesn't have that because it is young adult. And if it does have spice in it as a young adult book, it shouldn't be in there in my opinion. But yeah, I am tending to be drawn more towards young adult and Christian fiction for that matter because of that reason. And I'm not saying like if you like spicy books or enjoy that kind of stuff or are drawn to that, like I'm not judging you, but like just as a Christian I feel really convicted about reading spicier books, and I have also sinned in that area before, and it's really tempting for me to read those books and like not want to participate in those type of actions. So I try to steer clear of those types of books just from my beliefs as a Christian, and also to not tempt myself to do that kind of stuff. Not that like that stuff is bad, like spice and like sex isn't bad, like trust me, like God created it for a reason, but it's only within marriage that it's okay. And because I'm not married yet, I don't want to try to participate in that kind of stuff. And in the Christian community, it shouldn't be as taboo as it is, and I think that's mostly because of purity culture. But at the same time, like it does say in the Bible to flee from sexual sin, so I try to flee from sexual sin where I can. But at the same time too, there's a line that is drawn between not partaking in that stuff when you're not married, and then also like not being afraid to talk about it because it is a natural thing. So I probably love young adult for that reason, that it is for the most part clean, or at least it should be, and if it isn't, why is it there? And that's what kind of frustrates me. But yeah, I am coming to terms with that. Maybe it's okay to like young adult as a 28-year-old, and that's totally fine. Like, even though I'm not a young adult technically, like I'm not a teenager or an adolescent, it's okay to like young adult as an adult, like a full-fledged adult. So yeah, that's where I've been learning like what my tastes are, is I like young adult, I like Christian fiction, and if it has anything to do with like historical fiction or historical romance or fantasy, and as like in a sub-genre of young adult and Christian fiction, if it's within fantasy and historical drama, not historical drama, historical fiction or historical romance within young adult or Christian fiction, like if those are like the subgenres, then I like it. That's what I've been realizing what my taste is like the top tier is like young adult and Christian fiction, and underneath that, like within those, I like historical fiction, historical romance, and fantasy. So I still haven't found anything from this young adult section, but I'm sure I will. So as you can clearly see, I am back in my car. I had to like run in here because of the rain so that my hair wouldn't get as frizzy as it typically gets in the rain. But anyway, as you probably saw in the library, I got this Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi, and I've been really interested in this book. It is on my to be read or TBR list, and I have it on my want to read list on Goodreads. And this is a young adult fantasy book, and I just want to read the synopsis to you because I cannot clearly describe books because I don't know why. Especially if I haven't read them, it's hard for me to describe books other than what the genre is. So let me read the synopsis for you so that you get an idea of what this book is about, because it definitely interests me. It's something that I would definitely want to read. So it says, "To all the world Eliza is a disposable servant, never to be known for who she really is, the long-lost heir to an ancient Jinn kingdom. She is hunted, always forced to hide in plain sight lest she expose herself to danger, until one day she makes a mistake. The Crown Prince Cameron has heard the prophecies. He knows of the fearsome monster promised to kill his king. Darkness is fast descending upon the Empire, driving Cameron to desperately seek out its source. But he grows ever more suspicious of the servant girl with the strange eyes. The more he learns about her, and the harder it is to turn away. Even if falling for someone like Eliza means forfeiting everything he's ever known. This woven kingdom is a story of clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-lost queen who must claw her way through the darkness to reclaim her throne, rebuilding her kingdom and save her people from the half-lives they've been forced to live. So that definitely sounds like something that I would be interested in. Like I mentioned before, young adult tends to be clean, so I'm hoping that the romance in here is clean, and then it's fantasy. It has to do with history or some type of history. It seems like it would take place in like a medieval type dystopian society, and that's what I'm all about. Like, it has to do with kingdoms and kings and queens and that type of a thing. Like, I'm sold, okay? And this is definitely something that I would be interested in. Like, just like look at the cover though. I know the glare is a little wanky, but wanky, like, is that even a word? Like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, this looks a little funky, like, with the glare. But just, like, look at it. It's like a shield with a sword and, like, some flowers around it, and it just looks so pretty. It's yellow, too. It makes me happy. And like I said, fall reminds me of, like, reading thriller novels, fantasy novels, so I definitely am gonna give this a try. It is a thick book. It's a chunker. Let me see how many pages are in here. Oh, it's definitely over 400. Yep, 495, so almost 500 pages. So I am gonna take my sweet old time reading this because, first of all, I want to enjoy it, and second of all, like, it takes me a long time to get through books anyway, so reading an almost 500 page book is gonna take me a bit. So I can't wait to read this, and I'm probably gonna have it in one of my reading wrap-ups. I don't know when I have to return this. I should check my email, but it will either be in my October reading wrap-up or my November reading wrap-up, whenever I read this, either in October or November. So look out for that. You won't be getting my reaction to this or a reading vlog from me today of this book, but thank you for following along on today's adventure. I know this is another Vlogtober video, so I thought it would be perfect to bring you along to the library because one of my favorite fall activities is reading and going to the library. But I mean, like, I love going to the library and reading any time of the year, but like specifically during the fall, it just feels right. Like, obscenely right to do that. Obscenely? No, not obscenely. I don't even know my words today. I can't even speak English well. But it just feels right to go to the library or to a bookstore or to read during the fall season. So thanks for joining along, and I hope to see you in my next video. Do all the YouTube things that you know how to do. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!